Hey there, friends. So, I had a very difficult decision to make this weekend. I had met someone about a month ago that I was really interested in. And while a lot of people in life, they put on their peacock feathers and they give their best rendition of themselves to catch their next victim or meet their next partner or whatever it is. I think we all do that to a point. I don't so much anymore, though. I'm kind of like, what you see is what you get. And if you get to see me all fancy, that's because we were already established friends or more. But this guy put out all the charm. And I got caught into it. Because he had kind eyes. And he seemed genuine. And I'm not saying that either of those are untrue. But I started noticing that he was doing a lot of really unkind behavior toward himself. And I just couldn't put my finger on how bad it was. And he would tell me things like he trusted me because I didn't judge. And I was open, and I always had my best concept on, the topic. I am open, and I try not to judge, but I'm human, and I do judge. But I might not say things out loud because I care. And my judgment is not from a bad standpoint. So 2 weeks ago, he was visiting me, and he kind of went down a dark path a couple days into hanging out with me. And I kind of calculate that I have a good 24 to 30 hours with him when we hang out before his mask starts to come off. And I say mask because, there's the autism mask that people wear, but life is a play. It doesn't matter what spectrum you're on or what side of it you're on. We all wear masks. And his mask started to falter, and it had faltered before. And I'm a curious person, so I start asking questions, figuring if he doesn't want to answer, he won't. And so I discovered that he had been suffering from a very deep, dark depression since probably before he was a teenager. And he had done self-destructive things off and on his entire life. And that he hid it fairly well from the people that cared about him, his family and his friends. Or he had good excuses. And that he felt comfortable enough to tell me all of this because I am who I am. I'm this welcoming light. And I understand depression. I understand suicidal ideation. I understand why people commit suicide. I don't encourage it. I don't condone it. But I understand. And I also understand that I can't save everybody. The only person that I could save, honestly, is myself. And I only have so much control of that either, because If it's my exit point, it's my exit point. Now, let me state something. I am not interested in ending my life. I love my life. I've worked really hard to get where I am today in many different concepts of healing, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, etc. So this is a controversial topic that needs to be talked about more, and mental health needs to be taken more seriously. This world is failing the mental health community. It's failing. Because this man that I care about, even though I haven't known him that long, it doesn't matter the timing. It seems like I've known him for 20 years. He can't go get help because he works in a medical facility that's going to know. And he's embarrassed that he's going to lose his job. And he's embarrassed that people are going to find out. And he's more worried about that than his own life. He's more worried about looking bad when, if he's gone, it doesn't matter. Or maybe that's just one of his excuses. I don't know. But what I do know is that I had to walk away from someone that I care about, knowing that they're going to kill themselves or torture themselves trying to, and knowing that I cannot fix them, and that the only help that I could provide, it could possibly backfire, and just, it could happen sooner, whatever his demise is. I have to live with that. And it's not fair. It's not fair to anybody. And I don't want to lose his trust, but at the same time, I don't want to lose him. So I had to walk away from him yesterday after I saw him and experienced him once again try to hurt himself. He did hurt himself. And while it could have been a more horrific situation, there could have been a gun involved or a knife involved or whatever, it still could have killed him, what he did. And I was there to experience it, to be there, to ask if he was okay, to ask if he was getting enough assistance. Like, did he have his bearings back? Could he sit up again? And then I had to turn around and tell him that I needed to go pack my car up because I was leaving. And I didn't say that I was angry with him or that I was upset with him or that I was mad at him. I'm not. What's that going to do? What's that going to prove? He probably already thinks that anyway, even if I told him I wasn't. And I didn't scream and cry because I've gone down that road with past relationships with men that were suicidal, that I stayed with for years because I thought I could fix them, I could save them. And while they're still alive, I needed to move on. What will happen regardless of me. And all I can do is let people know that I care about them and that I love them and that I will see them when they are home and when I'm home. And if they can find me once they've passed on in my dreams or however they can communicate, That'll make me feel a little bit better. Even though I know they'll be fine, the human part of me will feel better. So, I know I'm talking about this like he's already gone, but I have to think about it that way because he already wants to be dead. It's like he's his own cat and mouse that just keeps swiping at the mouse and swiping at the mouse and then walking away for 20 minutes and then coming back and swiping at it again, but the mouse is just barely alive. And then the cat leaves for a day and the mouse kind of regains its strength and the mouse drags itself to safety, and maybe it starts to get better until the cat finds him again. That's exactly what he's doing. And I can't stand there and witness it, because that's starting to put my mental health and my life in danger. And I know that people are going to have conflicting opinions on that. But if he died yesterday and I was there, I would be under investigation. And while I care about him and I love him, I can't go through that right now. I have to take care of me. And so I had already been talking to the universe about this man and my life and my situation for a couple weeks now. And I call the universe, you could call it God or the Almighty or the power that be or whatever you want to call them. But I just say the universe because it's all encompassing. And so I drove home yesterday crying. And then I'm angry, and I'm just angry in general, and so I screamed. And I said, I understand, universe. I get it. You are throwing me another curveball. You want me to see if I'm going to be the old version of myself before I moved 1,200 plus miles away in February, or if I'm gonna be the newer version of myself, the one that's grown, the one that's healed. And you got me because I was going down that route of trying to save this person, and still every ounce of my being wants to, but I know I can't. And he even said it. You can't. It's far too gone. I'm far too gone. You can't save me. And I would even ask him, like, well, what about this time when we did this? And what about this time when we did that? The good memory stuff that, when you're first meeting someone and you still have, like, your peacock feathers up. And, during all those moments, were you still having these thoughts? And were you still feeling like a failure? And you were still feeling like you screwed up your life? And he said, yeah. Because I just thought, just a little inkling of the happiness that we had in the beginning would have taken that away. And I think he said it did a little bit, but that he realized that when it would go to the opposite end, that it was far worse and far more drastic. And I didn't want that either. And I think back to, like, his past relationships that he's with, his past girlfriend he was with for over 5 years, and he was going through this, and how they survived so long. And the one before that, how they survived for so long. And I'm just like, wow, maybe he is correct about how, even though when it's good with me, it's really good, when it's bad and I'm around, it's really bad. And that made me realize that I probably needed to be leaving anyway if that's how bad it was. That if he was willing to do things in front of me with no care because I was non-judgmental or that I was safe or whatever, that he was willing to be more daring. So, I'm not a fair weather friend. I'm not going to just be there for people when it's fun and exciting and good. But there's limitations that even myself have, that I have to protect myself also. And I have to take care of myself also. And, you know, I was encouraged to be more selfish, because selfish does not necessarily mean that you're a bad person. I've been putting myself on the bottom of my to-do list for, you know, all of my life until just recently, and I'm almost 40. So, this selfish part, though, I feel really crappy about it. I feel really terrible that this is also being selfish. But I don't have anything that I can do other than maybe reach out to his family. And that would be, losing his trust possibly, because I believe he thinks I wouldn't tell anybody. And maybe I will reach out to his family. Maybe they might not even read my messages if I do. But I could do that, and I might feel a little better, but ultimately, it's how they respond, if they even respond at all, or if they respond in time. And I'm really pissed that his therapist isn't pushing for him to try to get into like a facility, but I also don't know how much he's telling his therapist. He could be lying to them too. You know, and I really felt like he was telling me the truth about things, but this past couple days, I realized that he was lying to me also. Light little white lies, but it didn't matter. I'm not dumb. I wasn't born yesterday. And I know I'm going to encounter more people that are suicidal, and I'm going to encounter more people that are going to hurt themselves for attention or because they're deeply depressed or have chaos and abuse and trauma in their lives, and they don't know how to cope correctly. And that's the thing, is that he doesn't know how to cope healthily. And people can say the same thing about me. You know, I am a big woman, and I have unhealthy coping mechanisms that include choosing the type of food that I eat and not taking care of my body the best way I could have. But at the same time, I was a child and a teenager, and I still didn't know how to have healthy coping mechanisms. So the only thing that I could do now, today, is try to reverse that slowly but surely. It took me, 39 years to get to the size that I am now. It's going to take me however long to get me at a healthier weight. Not skinny, just healthy. And I'm working on that, and I've been doing really well. But that's just the same. Addictions are addictions. There's food addictions, there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's pain, there's sex. It doesn't matter. Pick your poison. I just feel like my heart has been torn, and I'll be fine. No matter what the outcome is, I'll be fine, because I know he will be happy and safe if he does pass. And all I can hope is the very best for him. And every time I've been with him, I've always prayed for him. I've always requested the most benevolent outcome for him. I've always wished that I could take away just half of his pain, if not all of it. And that's all we can do. All we can do. So I leave this message to everybody that's listening. no matter what day, date, time, 10 years from now, a minute from now, it is. The suicide hotline is available, and while our mental health facilities and educators and counselors and therapists and stuff are overwhelmed because there's not enough, and there's not enough voices, and there's not enough understanding, and there's not enough push, because it's just, a weak, vulnerable thing to have mental health problems, even though we all do. It's really pushing me to try to refocus back on that and do whatever I can do to help people within my ability without compromising myself. That's one of my main goals. As I help myself, I help people, and I help others. And as I help others, I help myself. And love is love is love is love. No matter what type of love it is, it's still love. And that's what I have for him. And that's what I have for you all. And that's what I have for myself, is love. Until next time, my friends, be good to yourselves. If an act of kindness would do more harm than good for a friend or loved one that's contemplating suicide, please call the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255 for immediate help and to speak with someone who knows exactly what's going on. They are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They also have online chats available, and all information is confidential. You could also text HELLO, HELLO, to 741-741 to be connected with the crisis text line. Be sure to also check out the Suicide Prevention Resource Center, where you can see a completed list of resources that are offered state by state. None of us are alone here. Please get help. You are loved.